So I am a Workday HCM certified consultant, wherein I did certification in HCM, Workday report writer, performance, and currently I'm working on the integration front. So overall, I have handled 5 clients, wherein out of 5, 3 clients were support, and currently I'm working on the implementation project. So as long as Workday is concerned, if you see here, it says that HCM functional consultant and integration consultant. So the person, so let me brief you about what kind of roles actually are there in the market. Let's say if you're going for an interview, and it purely depends upon your expertise. Let's say if you wanted to work on the technical front, let's say you are good in programming or giving logic, so you can choose integration firm wherein a technical part. But suppose if you are not technically savvy but you are functionally very strong, so you can work on functional, you can work as a functional consultant. So there are 2 domains. So currently my role is Workday lead consultant, so I am taking care of functional as well as technical part of Workday. So since functional, understand the functional part of the Workday, so we'll first focus on the functional consultant. What does a functional consultant do? What are the criterias? Or if you say that I'm a functional consultant, what should be your primary area you should be focusing on? So let's focus on the first part, which says primary functional consultant. So as the name suggests, functional. Yep.
One quick question before you proceed into functional. Can you just explain some responsibilities of a lead also? You just mentioned that common.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Just give me a moment. So, okay. So currently I'll give you about what kind of task I am doing. So see, I am working with a vendor organization wherein our company takes the project on Workday. So I am working on the integration, like I am working on the Workday implementation project. So what does implementation project has got altogether a different. So I am working as a lead. So my role is to handle. So I am 4 juniors, wherein junior means 2 years of experience, 3 years of experience, and 2 of them are of experience. They are reporting to. So my task is to first manage the project. So I am working as a kind of project management person, wherein who will be taking care of all the progress and the testing results of the implementation. Okay. Let's say, what does an say? I'm implementation consultant and my organization is migrating from PeopleSoft to Workday. Now, when you migrate your project from PeopleSoft is another HCM application which has been used widely since. So everyone, like most of the clients, are migrating their legacy system data to Workday system data. When you actually migrate, what all things you have to take care. Now, anyone can give me, like, suppose if I'm migrating my current organization data in Workday, what shall I do, or what should I have beforehand before migrating? Just anyone can tell me. Any idea regarding that? Okay, no worries. Let me explain you that what I'm talking about. When I say I want to migrate my HCM PeopleSoft, any other application into Workday HCM, so what I have to do? Because while migrating, I have to make sure that I should always update my current application with the historical record. When I say historical record means, see, my organization, let's say my organization started in 2010. So that means if I'm implementing Workday from 2020, that means there are from 2010 to 2020, there are some existing record which I have to migrate, right? When you want to migrate the historical information, then you make sure all your job profiles, all your data has to be updated. So currently my roles and responsibilities is concerned. So I take care of 4 people. The 4 people are working on the different projects. So one of my reportee is purely dedicated on security. So he will not get any other task than security. One of my junior or one of my reportee is focusing on the entire business process front, wherein any business process related he'll be taking care. One is L1. L1 means he'll just, let's say my product is on testing phase. Now Obviously, if my product is on testing phase, there may be issue, there may be user will come up with issue that, okay, this is not happening, this is what it is. So he'll take care of all the issues. And one person is purely dedicated on the integration front, which he takes care of EIB and core connector. So that means I have got 4 people, and the 4 people are working on the different modules, and 4 of them are having minimum 2 years of Workday experience. Wherein, let's say if I am saying that I am looking out for an opportunity, so getting an opportunity as a fresher in Workday gives you a less opportunity. But when you say that, okay, you have got 2 years of experience, minimum 2 years of experience, then the chances of getting opportunity increases. So I have got 4 people. I am working for a multinational company. I'm not going to disclose the name, but yeah, the organization is from United States. So my client is from New York. And this is my task. Like I have to manage these 4 guys. Let's say any point in time, since they don't have huge experience, so obviously there are instances wherein they don't know one concept or they need more assistance. So I pitch into that. Apart from that, when you work on some project, you have to take care of deadlines. You have to meet the deadlines. I cannot work on lifetime on the project, right? Because when we go for a project, we give a deadline that, okay, this is my project plan, wherein 1 week I'll be taking care of requirement, 2nd week I'll be taking care of development, 3rd week I'll be taking care of testing, and 4th week I'll be taking care of migration. So these are the phases involved in the implementation. Okay, when you say that there are different phases, you have to monitor these phases, right? You have to monitor that what kind of activity you do, because since I'm managing 4 people, so I have to make sure that my 4 people are actually performing, and I have to showcase to client. So that every week on Thursday, I'm having a call with my client regarding the progress of our development. Okay, so how does we perform? It's like, let's suppose you are filling in my shoes. Let's say you guys are now a lead Workday consultant. So what will be your day-to-day activity? My day-to-day activity is like, I'll be the single point of contact for client. So my client is not going to directly reach to my reportees. They're going to write it to me that, boss, this is I want. So my day starts with the first, I'll have to check all my emails. Then let's suppose if there is new requirement. So I have to make sure that I document those requirements, because what happens usually in current scenario, what I have been seen is like, client gives you requirement, you develop something else, and then it goes for testing, it is something else. That means what is happening, if you have not documented properly, so there are instances that you'll have to keep on working on the same task. So the thumb rule says, whenever you are getting any kind of project, let's say even it could be an issue, or it could be any enhancement, or it could be a new development, make sure you have a proper document. So let's say I've got a new requirement. So what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a document based on the, okay, there is a predefined template defined by our organization. So I fill in that information. I share with my client that this is what I have understood with our discussion. Please let me know whether your discussion and my discussion is matching or not. Okay, then client, if there is a changes, client will give me that changes. Once that is done, I take the sign off. I inform client that since we both are agreeing on this document, so I'll be developing similar what we have agreed. So what I'll do, I'll prepare a project plan. I'll say that I'm talking about my roles. Okay, there are different roles depending upon the organization, but the client for which I am working, they need a proper clarity how much hours I'm actually putting. So my fundamental role is to first make sure that all my 4 reportees are performing. Secondly, I am taking care of everything. Let's say if anything goes wrong, so client and even my organization not gonna hold my reportees neck. They're gonna ask me that, Manthan, since you are taking this responsibility, please let me know where we went wrong. So project pipeline discussion. Then I have to define a requirement document. Then based on the requirement, I have to segregate each of these tasks to my team. Once they are working on that, I need to make sure that, okay, if they say that it's going to take 16 hours, so I'll give them a 16 hours and I'll say that, okay, you purely work on the 16 hours task depending upon the priorities. So first, my important role is to managing 4 of reportees. Okay, then I have to make sure that I am involved in all the meetings which client is having with the Workday or client is having with us. So my second primary task is to involve in all the meetings. So since it is an implementation project, so what I can say currently I am 60% involved in the meetings and 40% into performance, like 50% on the Workday, 40% on Workday side and 60% purely on the meeting, getting requirement, discussing with the client, because what they are doing is my client is migrating their data from PeopleSoft to Workday. So obviously, if the application which they have used and the application which we are giving is, it's though it's an HCM, but yeah, there are lot many differences, right? What could PeopleSoft do? There are instances where Workday is not able to do, but there are instances where PeopleSoft was not able to do, Workday is giving that. So we have to make sure that if anything is not feasible, we should not directly say that no, this is not possible. We have to look out for a mediator solution wherein an alternate solution we have to give. So let's suppose there is an instances that I'm giving you a live scenario like what I have come across. I have to create, I don't know whether everyone is like Workday savvy, right? They know the fundamentals of HCM.
Yes, Manthan.
Okay. So let me explain you the real-time scenario where it was like I was unable to perform because there were limitations with Workday. So everyone is aware of business process, right? That how do we define the workflow? So currently I faced one instance wherein even Workday is saying that this is not possible as of now. You have to wait for 2 releases. So that issue was, in business processes, there are multiple sub processes. When I say hire, if you see hire, the hire will have multiple sub processes. Let me open here. Let's say I am saying hire BP. So I'll just type BP : hire. So let me tell you in the live scenario. So when I say hire, so there are multiple sub processes. When you comment on sub process, let's say this is my hire. Okay, let's open default. Have sub process. So when there is a sub process, let's say, okay, this is the right example. If you see this, change personal information is a sub business process. Change emergency contact is a sub business process. But there is an instance where while changing personal information, if you comment on the business process, that is not going to show in higher business process. Means the issue is when you comment, right? If you initiate any section wherein you have to write, okay, get approval or do this, you put some comment. Whenever you putting comment on change business process, then the entire comment will not show up. This issue is being informed to Workday, and Workday is saying that in 2021 they're gonna release this feature. So because if we have limited requirement, right, because the application is owned by Workday, so we don't have the source code, means we cannot go ahead and client and give the fake information that I can do this. So my task is, whenever I'm getting any requirement from client, I never say that I know this thing. I'll say that let me do this in Workday. I'll give you the live scenario. If you're okay, then we'll freeze on the requirement, because we are not owning Workday. We don't have the source code. That means if you don't have the source code, so there may be a scenario wherein Workday will say that, okay, this is not possible. This in this release, wait for another release. So the thumb rule says, even if it looks like a simple change, never ever commit to a client that you can do this. Always say that, give me some time, I'll work on this and I'll give you the updates. So what procedure I followed throughout now is, every time I say, because see, when you say that you cannot see the comment, it looks easy. The requirement is very easy. If I don't see tenant, I'll directly say, oh, no, it is very simple, I'll do that. But actually when you dig into it, when you actually work on it, this is not possible, because this is something which is not been given by Workday. So by looking into it, the issue looks easy, but when you start working on it, then you realize this is not working. So what happens in this scenario, if you say yes, and if you later after 1 or 2 days you decline that this is not possible, the impression go wrong, right? And these are the small things which comes from the interview, because in interview, whichever interview I gave, no one asked me the question. What they have asked me, please tell me what all task you have, what all project you have worked on, where are the limitation, where you have worked on this, you are not able to do that, so give me your day-to-day activity. So Workday interview, it's very straightforward. Everyone, whenever you go for any interview, because I have been to 4 or 5 interviews, but what I have concluded is, like, you go for any interview, all the managers or anyone will ask your experience. So let's say I have now I have been for an interview. So the interview starts with my, tell me about yourself. So guys, you understand my roles and responsibility first thing, then we'll look into the part what, when we go for interview, how is the scenario?
Yes, Manthan.
Okay.
Yeah, I understood.
Okay. If you
Thank
have
you.
any queries, you can chip in, right? Because I want, since I am not giving you training, I am not saying that Workday go do this, do that, since it is a live session. So any point in time, if you have any question, say your name and ask the question. Because if this would have been a training, so I would have said that, okay, please complete 1 hour and then we'll have a Q&A session. So this is a discussion. So make sure that everyone can participate in this and ask me any queries or concerns. Okay.
So hi Manthan, this is Madhav.
So now let's start with. Yeah, Madhav.
Yeah, I have a doubt actually on XTT and ETB.
Okay.
So just today I attended for an interview.
Okay, you went for an interview. Okay.
Yeah, I went for an interview. They asked like, what is the implementation project have you done up to now? And then how do you get the data from data into the Workday?
I'm so sorry. It is very difficult to hear you. Can you please tell me? Come again.
I'll give you the question in that chat. Okay.
Yeah,
so I do have
chat.
the problem. Internet.
Okay,
problem.
yeah, because I'm unable to hear you properly. Okay, can you please speak loud? Okay. But others, I'm audible, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, Manthan.
Yeah, but it is breaking sometimes, but it is okay.
Hey, Manthan, this is Asha here. Because we are
Yes.
talking about roles and responsibilities, can you please tell us the roles and responsibility for Workday Business Analyst?
Okay. So first, since I have got one question, so first I'll clear that and then I'll come on to the business analyst, right? What you said?
Workday Business Analyst, because they do ask me, because I do have business analyst background, so they in the interviews they keep asking me whenever I apply for Workday Business Analyst, what is the roles and responsibility? What do you do? So I just want to get that info.
Madhav has asked me something.
Yeah, after that you can answer. Yeah.
Since Madhav, the question which you are okay, no worries. Madhav, give me a moment because your question required a bit of explanation. So I'm just not an offense, but I'm just keeping your question on hold for 1 minute because it required a bit of a background what I am initially giving it. Once I'll complete, then we'll talk on this part. Is it okay with you? Okay, I think
Yes,
Madhav.
Okay, Manthan.
Okay, thanks a lot here. Okay, so let's say business analyst. What does a business analyst means? So business analyst means it's purely a functional role. When I say functional role, so I'm talking about, no, let's not focus on HCM as of now. Functional consultant. What does a functional consultant do? Whether you work for SAP, whether you work for Oracle, or whether you work for Workday, functionality remains the same. When I say functionality means, let's say Accenture is hiring an employee, IBM is hiring an employee, Samsung is also hiring an employee. So for each of these organizations, we need an open position. And if they have an open position, they'll recruit, they'll evaluate the candidate, then they'll go for an interview, then they shortlist, then the compensation discussion will be there, and then they give offer letter, and then the hiring is done. So means whether you go for any application, the hiring process, termination process, or any process remains the same. Even for business analyst means a functional consultant should have a functional knowledge. First thing, no matter it is Workday or it is HCM or no matter it is a Workday, SAP or Oracle, but functionality you should have. So business analyst should always have a functional knowledge about the process. First thing. So if you say that I'm an HCM consultant, that means you should have an HCM experience. You say that I'm a benefit consultant, so you should have a benefit experience. So first thing it says, you need to have a functional consultant. Now since we are looking out for a Workday opportunity, now I'll talk about Workday. So when you say I'm a business analyst, so the interviewer will think that whatever comes in my functional HCM functional training, I should have hands-on on that experience. So when I say I'm an HCM functional consultant, rather a business analyst, means I can have exposure or experience in business process. Secondly, I should have an experience in security. Thirdly, I should have experience in staffing model. Fourth, I should have experience in data migration, because there are instances when one organizational will move their Workday from legacy system to Workday application. So obviously there is an instance where you have to migrate data from one system to another system. So when I say I am a business analyst, I should have these 4 qualities. First, the functional knowledge. Since I am saying that I am an HCM consultant, so I should have a functional knowledge. Secondly, I am looking out for a Workday, so I should have a functional knowledge of HCM. Thirdly, I should have a very good exposure in all the components which says that this is a functional. So what all component comes into that? Business process, security, compensation, what is the under functional document. And fourthly, data migration. When I say data migration, means migrating your data from one application to another application. So this 4 things is must. Apart from this, if you say that you know report writer, you know calculated field, you know EIB, you know core connector, these are the add-on experience. But yeah, if you say that I don't know technical part of Workday, there is no harm. But yeah, 4 things you should have. Now let's say you say that okay, I know these 4 things. Now the second question would be from client. They'll say that please explain me your day-to-day activity, or what kind of scenario, or where you think that Workday is not achievable. Since you have an experience, so obviously in my life there are many instances where I could not able to give the solution because I don't have that solution with Workday. So you have to give your words and experience. Please tell me guys, any one of you have had any other different kinds of interview wherein client has asked you something? Most of the client or most of the organization will ask that what kind of roles and responsibility you are doing, how your team is working, how you get the issue. If you get the issue, what is your process of resolving that? If any point in time you are not able to resolve your issue, what do you do? Any other discussion apart from the kind of functional business analyst means you should have thorough experience in HCM, and importantly, very importantly, understand that they are looking out for an opportunity. So to get an opportunity, you first have a hands-on experience. Hands-on experience doesn't mean that you should work.
Manthan, it is
What we are
breaking,
doing,
Manthan.
learning work there.
It is breaking.
We barely hear you.
Is it okay? Does
Yeah, it is
for
not clear.
one second, let me just reset it. One minute. 1 second. I'm just disconnecting and connecting. What we are doing, we are disconnecting again. Okay, since it is not and connecting again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Guys, I'm audible?
Yeah, I mean, it's breaking again, Manthan. It is not clear. Can you speak again?
Guys,
Can you speak again?
I said I'm audible to everyone.
Now you are.
I'm audible.
And there is a lot of
Actually,
echo.
there is lag.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
There's a lot of echo.
It is not good, basically.
Discussing on the roles and responsibilities which as an business analyst can have better, right? Okay, thanks for the confirmation. Is one, functional knowledge. Second, since we are focusing on Workday, so we should have a hands-on experience on Workday. Third, data migration. Fourth, all the components which says that I'm a Workday consultant. Okay, now if you say that, one second. Okay, when you go for an interview, the first thing which everyone asks is, please tell me about yourself. So when an interviewer says that, please tell me about yourself, so what does it should include? The body should always give you your full name, your base location, and second, your qualification. And once you give your qualification, then start with your experience. Don't go for your family background. No one is interested to understand family background unless you have been shortlisted or you have been asked. So when you go for interview, brief introduction that my name is so and so. I have completed my qualification from this in the year this, and I have got 4 years of experience. When you say 4 years of experience, so you have to distinguish that, okay, 2 years into this organization, so okay, I was working as a junior consultant. So what was your roles and responsibilities? Explain that. Then for the remaining 2 years, I was working as a senior consultant. Explain your roles and responsibilities. That's it. If you have 10 years of experience, 62 or 5 minutes of introduction when someone is that, unless you have been asked, don't go for a brief introduction of yourself. Crisp in your detail, your name, your qualification, because qualification describes what kind of work you can do, and thirdly, your experience. That's it. Once this phase is done, then your interviewer will ask, okay, tell me what kind of project you are handling. So there are two kinds of project, as I said earlier as well, that one is a support project and other one is the implementation project, and both of these projects have different requirements. When I say implementation, means I am not here to resolve issue, I am here to configure the entire from zero. So when I say configuration, so obviously, okay, let me give you a brief. Let's say when you say, let's focus on implementation first, because implementation is the kind of project wherein you get to know most of the things. So let's say we are getting an opportunity for implementation. Mostly there are projects which is on support. So you tell me, which should I pick one? Whether I should I go for implementation first or the support one? In terms of market, support projects are like, they have got their number of opportunity in terms of support. So let's focus on support. Okay, let's say there is an opening for minimum 2 years of Workday experience. So everyone is eligible for in our team. So you go for an interview, you gave your introduction. Now the second question which comes, what kind of things you handle? When I say I am a 2 years of experience, obviously if I'm saying 2 years, I can't say that I know HCM, I know benefits, I know performance, I know studio, I know EIB, I know core connector. No. In 2 years of experience, if you give all these modules, so actually you are faking. Please remember, the guys who is sitting in front of you, he is not dumb. He is not fool. He understands. That's the reason he is taking the interview. So never ever try to overestimate your experience any point in time. I found most of the candidates, because when I take interview, I encounter so many candidates. Like these are the problem for almost 80% of candidates. They overestimate. When I say overestimate, what does an overestimate means? It's very obvious. If I'm saying I need 2 years of experience, how could you get experience in 4 or 5 modules in just a span of 2 years? And that too, you're working on a support project. Support project means you are there to resolve your issue. No one is going to ask you to do configuration from scratch. When no one is asking you to do configuration from scratch, it is very obvious that even though you are good at resolving issue, but there are instances when implementation you won't be able to resolve. So never ever fake your, I am not saying fake, we can do that. But yeah, if I am saying I'm 2 years of experience, so I need to make sure that the experience which I'm showing and the knowledge which I'm displaying should match with 2 years. Okay. So since now I'm considering everyone a 2 years of experience, since you know Workday fundamentals, you know report writer. So yes, that is enough. Okay. So interviewer will ask you, please let me know what kind of roles and responsibilities you handle. Since the thumb rule says we should know HCM. HCM fundamentals is the basic Workday. Without HCM fundamental, no one can even learn Workday. So that I'm talking about purely on functional consultant point of view. Let's say you're going for a functional consultant of role wherein the minimum requirement is 2 years. So the interview will ask you, please tell me what kind of role you handle. So you'll say that I am taking care of all the day-to-day issues, because you're working as a support consultant. The basic part of support consultant is resolving an issue. So I'm taking care of all the L1 issues. What does an L1 issues means? L1 issues means wherein you can see there is slight routing miss or business process not working or notification triggered but it didn't go for a proper recipient. I'm giving an example. Let's say you moved an employee, but employees organizations are not there properly assigned. So these are things where the assignments or process is good, but data is not looking good. Let's say you have assigned someone to an organization, but the organization assignment is not happening properly. So what could be the issue? So you say that I am working on L1 issues. So they'll say, what kind of L1 issues? You say that when you migrate an employee from one supervisory organization to other supervisory organization, what is happening? There is one page wherein you get a page wherein it asks you, it gives you 3 options. Do you want the current organization assignment? Do you want the default organization assignment? Or do you want the none? So these 3 options is to be checked correctly. If you fail to choose these options, then your organization assignment will go wrong. So you say that these are the issues which I am facing. Secondly, I have created a position. I'm giving a real-time scenario if and 2 years of experience can encounter. Let's say you have created a position. So do you guys understand the difference between availability date and earliest hire date? There is a huge difference between these 2 dates. When you create position, you get 2 dates, right? Earliest hire date and availability date. What is the difference between these 2 dates?
So
Okay,
Manthan,
let
if
me
you
tell
don't know,
you.
please come once again.
Shall I ask the question again?
No, previous to.
Or else you can chat. Yeah, that is rather good. Not audible. Please just give a few non-achievable scenario in Workday. Okay. Non-achievable scenarios. Okay. So first scenario I gave you that wherein you cannot get the sub-process in place, right? Now, let me give you one more scenario. Recently, I have encountered, which is like I worked for 15 days. Rigorously, I worked for 15 days. After 15 days, I get to know that I am unable to achieve that. Then we raise this concern to Workday as well. And finally, Workday also declined it to give that solution. I'll tell you what is the reason. So I am working on performance reporting. So when I say performance reporting, there are different business objects. Okay, let me give you the like what errors I've encountered and what I was unable to do that. Even Workday has declined that. When I worked for 15 days. Rigorously do a performance. I'm talking about performance module and associated with the reporting. So I was working on the performance module. All my performance process got completed. Now, once my process is completed, I have to create a report. I have to create a performance report. So report requirement was I need to get all the submission of the ratings. Rating, when right, you go for a performance, so you get ratings, right? 2, 5. In the scale of 5, you get 4, 4.5, 2, 1, 2, 3. So this is my rating. But this rating, I'm giving you the real-time scenario. So this rating are being evaluated by manager, employee, and there is a new thing which a Workday has given, which is you can take review from your juniors, you can take review for your seniors, and you can get review from your peers. This is something new which Workday has encountered, which says 360 review. So I am able to get the average from employee, I can able to get the average of my manager, but I am unable to get the average of my peers, my juniors, and my senior colleagues. So what was the requirement? I need the average of my employee rating. I am able to do that. I need the average of my manager. Yes, I did that. I need the average of not peer. I need the average of peer plus my juniors plus my seniors. So I need to get the sum and get the average. Okay. So this was my requirement. And I rigorously worked for 15 days. That I created somewhere around 2 to 250 calculated field to achieve this. And finally, I broke and I said that I'm so sorry that since my experience is short, but I am, because the reason was it was failing. When we create a calculated field, you see there is a concept of related business object and business object. You can use related business object where you can find a linking between worker and the primary performance. So in my report, which I have used, my primary business object was employee review, and I have to get my peers. I have to get my peers rating from content evaluation. So content evaluation and employee review, there is no linking, means there is no related business object concept. If there is no related business object concept, you cannot use any calculated field which you create under content evaluation. So that was my issue, and I can bet you that even we raised this concern to Workday as well. And then after 2 days, we got to know that since there is no linking between, because they are not expecting the client should go this deep to get the evaluation. So they was not known to this. So we raised a concern, and we straight away we got the resolution that since there is no related business object concept, so we won't be able to give you that, and we don't know when we are looking into this, because we are the only one client who raised this concern and who wants something similar to this. So what happens in this scenario, since Workday directly raised their hand, so obviously we have to do something. So as a vendor, what we said that since it is only a calculation thing, what best we can do is we can do a calculation, means we can get this report. Report getting is easy. We'll do this outside of Workday, because Workday is not doing so. Obviously, as a vendor, I can't say that please scrap your performance and look out for a new performance. Client is not going to change, because client is paying to vendor. Client is paying to us. Client is paying to Workday. Why he'll change? He'll ask from Workday. So what I have suggested is like, it's better that we create a report. We get the output. Since it is only a submission, we can, any point in time, we can create a custom object and load this information only for peer, junior, and senior colleagues rating. We can create a custom object. It's a new concept, custom object, and we can directly load to the employee's profile, which is a manual process. But yes, in Workday, we can get the record. So this was my solution, and it worked well. And recently, because I work for United States client, so there was a scenario wherein they work from January to December. So recently, December performance has happened. So this, and I encountered with this, I was like, and very important point, when you get such kind of requirement, never ever directly say no. First, do your research. So where you do your research, Workday community. Workday community is the only thing wherein you can look for any kind of solution or any kind of assistance. So I've been to community, I raise a concern on community. Few of colleague has responded that since they have not able to do this. So if you got that it is not possible, second approach, you can raise a brainstorm. So when how Workday works, let's say this thing is not possible, Workday said we are not able to do this. So what best you can do is you can create a brainstorm. So what does the brainstorm do? How Workday come to know that this is very requirement? Because Workday started in 2005 and we are in 2020. There were many instances where clients were unable to achieve something. So what they did, they created a brainstorm. So by looking into a brainstorm, let's say my client raised a brainstorm, similar issue has been encountered by some other clients. So what they'll do, they'll vote my brainstorm. So if my vote, like there is a minimum count, like it should be minimum 50. So 50 clients should say that, okay, this is required. Then they'll start looking into it. Once they start looking into it, then they'll work on it. So when something is not achievable, best part is to raise a concern in Workday, write your question on community. Secondly, you can raise a brainstorm and please monitor that brainstorm, because after 1 week or 2 week, Workday will come up and write to that brainstorm, since they are still awaiting for customers to upvote this. Once it is reached so and so count, then we'll start working on it. So this was my recent encounter wherein I was helpless. So when you say that this is not achievable, you have to give with your life scenario. You cannot say that I was working this and this was happened. I give you a life scenario that there is no relation between employee review and content evaluation. If there is no relation, you cannot use it, because your performance is based on employee review. Does this sounds good? I think most of you are from Workday background, so please ask me questions rather than
Manthan,
me explaining my lifestyle.
Yeah, Manthan, I have a question.
Yeah. So
Go
can
ahead.
I go ahead first? Or
Ladies first.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, Manthan, actually, I really understand, and the issue was really great regarding performance. The thing is, not everybody will have performance module experience, right? So if you want to, for example, for 2 years of experience, if we should tell a practical scenario other than complicated modules like performance related. So can you just come up with 1 or 2?
Okay, so I gave you my what I have encountered. Okay, HCM. So do you want the success stories or where you won't be able to do that? What you want? I have got both the things.
Related.
So let's
Anything, Manthan, what an interviewer will get impressed.
talk about
That's
success
what.
stories.
Yeah.
What you have achieved. Just now I gave you one example. Yeah, I told you, right? Business process. When you comment on sub-business process, you can't see on main business process. Let's say my higher business process has personal information, ID change, then compensation change. When you put comment on compensation change, then you cannot get that comment on the main business process, because let's say, okay, I'm just stopping the sharing and then I'll again share it. Okay, give me a moment. Let me log in into a tenant. I'm just logging into the tenant and then we'll talk on this part. In the meantime, you can ask me any other questions if you have, since this required bit of understanding, so I'll tell you that. I'm audible, right?
Yes, Manthan, you're audible. I'm just thinking.
One second, let me just log in so that I'll give you a real-time scenario how it works. Just sharing my screen now, since I'm logging into it.
I've called in.
How about it? I'm just sharing now. I'm good to go. You can see my screen now.
No, Manthan.
Now
No.
I am on Workday page.
No.
Let me ask for presenter access then. Yeah. Now tell me. I'm on Workday screen. Login with Charlie Smith.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. So the instance, this was like way back. Like I encountered this issue in the year 2016. Still Workday is not evaluating it. So let's say I'm talking about this BP. Let's say I want to hire some employee. Let's say, okay, hire employee. Again, I have to configure this business process, but let me hire an employee. If I hire an employee, okay, let me see, do I have any positions? Let me create it. Or else, if I'll do creation, it will take time. Let me just show you the business process. This is a real-time scenario, even if I'm not able to do so. So this is my hire BP. Okay, let me see the default. So when you initiate any business process, in the bottom you got some comment section. Please comment, note, right? You get that section. If you put something on higher BP, like directly on the higher BP, you can see all the comments visible. That okay, manager has said that, HR partner has said that. But when you put some comment on sub business process, so change job is the sub business process. If you put some comment on the sub business process, then the comment which you put under sub business process is not achievable. Getting it? You put some comment under change personal information, it is not. And why this encounter? Let's say I am hiring somebody and someone has already mentioned that his personal information is not correct, but I don't have personal information access, but I have hire. So I am not able to see the comment which is being updated by. Let's take this example. Here you see it is an HR partner's task. Let's say HR partner updated that, okay, personal information sounds good. Now I am into, let me see, do I have any other process? Okay, let's say I have change information also, change contact change. And here this is an employee self, or other than employee sense, let's say there is a manager. Manager is not able to see the comment given under personal information change. So what is happening? That even though if someone is giving me some information, I am not able to see that comment. This is a genuine issue which I have raised this to Workday in 2016. I don't know the exact month, but as of now, there is no solution. I have raised a brainstorm. If you put this, you will get to know the brainstorm as well. Okay, so this is an issue which is happening in the business process. There are instances also. Let me tell you one more instances. When you say, you know the concept of custom objects and custom fields? Everyone knows, because if it should not happen that what I'm talking, you guys are not following me. You should follow the concept. So everyone is aware of custom objects and custom fields?
Yes, Manthan.
Okay. So when you create custom fields, let me create that. Okay. When you create a custom field called if you dated, let me create a custom field. After that, we'll focus on Madhav's question, and then we'll conclude the session. And tomorrow I'll extend the session. If you see out here, it says currency, decimal, integer, list, text, and paragraph. But here, if you create any custom field, you didn't get an option to place this custom field right after the other. Here you see currency is here, then you get a decimal. But when you create a custom field, it will not show up to beside, it will show up only down. So what is happening? If you say here you are putting all the custom fields, you are saving the page, you are saving the entire page. You don't have to scroll down. But when you create something, custom field in Workday, currency will show up here, then decimal will show up down, integer will show down, list will show down. So what is happening? Your scrolling will increase. Let's say my custom object has 20 fields. So updating 20 fields, I'll have to scroll down every time, which is a tough ask. So what is happening? this should show up in this way. This it makes easy, right? I don't have to scroll my mouse. Okay, currently directly I'll put this. So this is what a look and feel. Again, this is something which requires a coding since we don't have. So I directly state in denied client that this is not possible because we don't have the source code for this. This was a straightforward thing, but still such things exist because the client from PeopleSoft background or any other application which have a customization and configurable application, they come up with the same questions. So Workday thumb rule says Workday is configurable application. I can configure application as per my requirement. Workday is a configurable application, but not customizable. Customizations means you cannot change the font type. You say that let me select red and then I'll do that. No, you can't do that. Right? Importantly, now there is lot many queries on the notification. It is like if you see community, you will get to know n number of communities. When you get notification, I'll tell you what is the catch. If you see these notification, if I say, let me have this message in blue or bold, or let me change the font, you won't be able to do. Let me tell you, this is a real-time scenario and you can say that, okay, this is what I have encountered and this is what the solution is. When you see this Workday in Workday, you see that this is normal font. Okay, no bold, no italic, no color, no font change, nothing. But you can still do this kind of HTML tagging, not in Workday notification. I did this is recently. This was my recent research, wherein if you put a HTML tag on the notification, then when you get a message on the Outlook, you get that bold and italic. But here in Workday, you cannot see that. You got the things what I'm saying. This is a real-time scenario in which will give you a pace, like since this is possible, so you'll like obviously what client is asking what you have researched and what you have got. So this was my recent research, wherein I'll tell you that you see this, right? I cannot modify this. Let me go to business process. Let's say I'm talking about hire. Go to hire BP. This is my hire BP and all my notifications are coming from hire business process. So let me go to hire. This is my notification section. So all my business process will get notification from here. If you see this, okay, let me add one notification. Quickly I'll add. Let it be today. Okay. This is notification, sorry. I'll have to add notification from related actions. So, okay, having said that, I'll put it in simple word since you can practice it. So any notification HTML tag will not show up in Workday, but since these notifications which are getting is also going to your Outlook. Okay, since this is a training environment, in this environment, Outlook emailing is not configured, but let's talk about a production. When you add HTML tag in the notification, all tagging works on the Outlook, but not in the Workday. Here, if you see the font remains the same, but when you get these notification onto your production, then you can actually see the HTML tag working. When I say HTML tag, you can change the font, change the content, change the color of your email. But same thing is not working in Workday. This is something new which I have encountered and it works successful. So you can, in success, you can add this.
So Samanthan, so
yeah,
in order to do this one, you need to be familiar with HTML tags and all that, right? Otherwise, we'll not be able to do.
Yeah, HTML tag is not a rocket science. Like, though, okay, let me give you my background. Though I'm from technology, I worked for 2 years purely a programming language. Then after that, 7 years, I was focusing on the functional part. But if you ask me again, I can do that. Okay, when I say HTML programming, that doesn't mean that you know hardcore. If you want to bold, italic, if someone is asking you, you can ask your colleagues also. In a team, you have a team, you can ask someone, okay, can we have this? So don't feel that no one is going to help you or no one is there to assist you. You will get all the assistance, but if you don't know anything, you have a courage to ask. Okay, so HTML is not a big task. It's a straightforward. It's based on tagging. If you don't know, don't go with solution. But yes, we can do that. I'm saying that I did this thing and it worked for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Madhav
yeah.
was asking some question and I found his question is very interesting. Shall I go ahead for him now? Because in 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to conclude the session. And tomorrow we'll extend because maybe my network connection is not proper today. And I don't want that we should not have a proper connectivity and in discussion.
Sure, Manthan.
Okay. Yeah, Madhav, can you please come up with your question? What I've understood is like, what kind of, how do we migrate from one application to other application? Does this your question? Is Madhav there on call? Okay, okay. He has mentioned something. Please discuss a few non-achievable. So I did that. Okay. Previous topic. Madhav, you're there? Guys, I'm audible to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Manthan.
Yeah, Madhav, your question was a bit interesting. Can you please repeat it again since I rejoined the Zoom? So your question is like got vanished. Okay, about XTT and before prior to this?
Yeah, I guess it was. How do you transfer?
Okay, when you use DT, when we use DT we use in core connectors wherein we need to, okay, now, okay, I'll give you a real-time scenario for this. Since XTT and ETV, we'll discuss this tomorrow because this is a time-consuming task. So I'll focus on how you do a data migration. Let's say you guys are working on implementation project. When you work on implementation project, you need to have some data handy with you. They'll say that I have a PeopleSoft. You have to migrate all my records into Workday. So there are multiple ways. We can use EIB, we can use Studio, or there is an iLoad. iLoad is dedicated for implementation. So iLoad is similar to EIB. So what you do in iLoad, you mass upload the record from a Workday template into Workday. So let's say you got a report from PeopleSoft, you take first name, last name, hire date, job profile, everything. Prior to doing this, what is a master setup? When I say I want to implement Workday, what you'll do first? You should have all the master setup. Master setup means you should have one-time creation and multiple time usage. So company, you create one time and you use multiple times. Cost center, you create one time and use multiple times. So locations, job profiles are those components which you required before loading any information in the system. When I am saying Manthan is senior lead, so obviously senior lead is a position. I need to have that position in the system. Then only I'll be able to hire Manthan. So all the master setup should be done previously for loading any Workday information. So master setup is required. There are multiple ways to load. So one is iLoad. iLoad is like a implementation loading wherein first time when you implement your Workday, then you can use iLoad. After that, there is a similar concept is EIB. Okay. Now Madhav was asking something, implementation project, how do we get data for how many SFTP we can send at once? See, in core connector and EIB, we can send one data to one SFTP. But if you want to send multiple data, so we have to use a Workday Studio. Workday Studio is a third-party tool. It is not been given by Workday. Workday Studio is a third-party tool wherein by using a Workday Studio, we can actually send our data to multiple SFTPs. Let's say I am using Oracle Payroll and I am also using Oracle Recruiting also. So I am using two applications. Both of two applications required a demographic information from Workday. Please understand, both the application required demographic information from Workday to Payroll, Workday to Recruiting. In this scenario, what you'll do, since both of them are requiring the same employee's record, so what you'll do, you'll not create multiple integration. You don't require two kinds of integration. So what you can do is you can create a studio, and since both of their SFTP is different, right? One is Oracle Payroll and another one is Oracle Recruiting. So you use Workday Studio wherein a single web service from Workday will trigger to two different SFTP. This is possible in Studio, but not possible in EIB, not possible in Core Connector. Got your point? Okay, if two SFTP
you meant
were delivered and
using DT, we cannot do this, right? That's what you're trying to say. Using core connector means using DT.
No, in DT we don't put the delivery method. We put delivery method
in business process, in the main integrations business process.
Exactly. Yes.
So what I understand is with the connectors, with using DT or with the EIB, you cannot configure, you cannot achieve this one. Sending the same data to multiple
even
locations like SFTP locations.
Yeah, in EIB you won't be able to do that. Okay, I can put a glitch also. Let's say two different you getting it?
Manthan, we lost you. We cannot hear you.
Integration, the integration daily not train. Once is correct. So to achieve this, we can use Studio, wherein daily document will trigger and it will send the document to different SFTP information.
Manthan, we lost you. Actually, it was breaking and I couldn't hear anything.
Once is completed. So to achieve, guys, do you mind that if I have to do? I'm seriously struggling with my internet connectivity. So do you mind if we connect tomorrow and then we'll have a session?
Definitely, Manthan.
Okay, no worries. So guys, I'm concluding this session and we'll connect it tomorrow.